Silly things that Christians say.
Alright, so we're back again with another episode of Silly Things That Christians Say. And we're going to go straight into the second one because we did all the disclaimers last time. And if you didn't see or hear that, then check the first video before you continue with this one. Alright, so we're going to go straight into the second silly saying. What is it?
I am good.
So, I'm good. Okay. Now, you might be listening to that and say that's a bit weird. What's wrong with saying I'm good? Let me just explain. It's not when you meet up with someone and they say, oh, how are you? And then you say,
I'm good.
Or I'm fine. It's not that. It's when a person says, a Christian says, I'm a good person. Or we can even put / I'm not that bad. Again, you might still be a bit confused, but let me just explain why this is a silly saying. Because the very, very basic of Christianity, like I've spoken to people all over the world and people who don't know much about faith, people who are not even Christians, but most people know the very basics is we were sinners, so the Lord Jesus came into the world, was crucified to save us. And most people, they know at least that in some fuzzy, blurry version. So when a person says that I'm good, or I'm a good person, or I'm not that bad, they're basically almost throwing away, if I can say, the very basics of why we're even Christian in the first place, because we weren't good. I don't know if you have anything to add on that.
It's true, and I was thinking, as human beings, we're so flawed, we make mistakes, and especially we're only good to people sometimes that we like, or in certain circumstances or situations we change our standard of goodness. And I was thinking that it doesn't work. It doesn't work with us just being good sometimes and us picking and choosing when we are good.
Even going off of that point, when a person says something like that, you know what they're thinking about? They're thinking about the times when they bought someone a gift for their birthday. They're thinking about the times when they helped an old lady cross the street. They're thinking about the times where they read their Bible, where they did nice or good things. They're not thinking about the times where they made mistakes. They're not thinking about the times they made mistakes even when they became a Christian. I'm sure, especially if you've been a Christian for a while, you had the experience that I had. Either going to services, VYG meetings, reading my Bible, and thinking that I'm doing everything right and just being like, wait, I didn't know that was wrong. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, where you learn other things that you were still doing that were wrong even after you became a Christian. So again, like, what is the standard you're using of good? Are you comparing it to people who the world calls evil, like, I don't know, a terrorist or something? Or are you comparing it to the standard you should be? And that's God's standard, because remember, God is perfect.
Just thinking of the point that you mentioned before, I thought of a verse in Proverbs 26:12, where it says, do you see a man wise in his own eyes? There's more hope for a fool than for him. And thinking about us being wise and how we see ourselves, we know with Christianity, as you mentioned before, it's not just about doing a kind gesture. It's not just about doing, oh, I did a good thing. It's also our thoughts. Sometimes we have evil thoughts. Sometimes the feelings that we feel, our intentions are a little bit, it goes off, and it doesn't please God when you go to maybe a service or you go to a real talk meeting and you hear the message and you realize, like, oh, like when I gave that gift, what was my intention when giving that gift? Or did I do something to get something else in return? And that's where...
Sorry to cut you, but I'm just thinking about what the word's actually saying there about being there's more hope for a fool than someone who's wise in their own eyes. Like, really just think deeply about that. If you've ever seen someone that you thought was foolish, silly, that person has more hope if they recognize as well, probably they're foolish, they're not that good, than someone who thinks that they're doing well because now they have the tag of Christian. And to finish things off, I want to speak about a story that really, really always comes to my mind from time to time. It was of two men who went to pray. And when these two men went to pray, Jesus was comparing the difference between them. They were not good. Just like all of us, I'm talking about me, I'm talking about my wife, I'm talking about you who are watching this as well. No one, including them, were good. And one of them, even though he had a lot of, goodness. When he prayed, he was so ashamed to even be there talking to God. And the other one was bragging and just talking about all the nice and wonderful things that he did. And you know what Jesus said at the end? The one who was so ashamed of himself, the one who recognized he wasn't good, that was the one who was accepted by God. And the other one, who had a long list of wonderful things he'd been doing, he wasn't accepted. So think about that. Next time, if someone asks you what type of person you are, don't be so quick to say, I'm
good.
Don't be so quick to say, I'm not that bad. Remember, the standard is God's perfection. And none of us reach that. Not you, not me, not her, not Mother Teresa, or anyone else you want to think about. Yeah, so until next time, take it in, and we'll come back with another silly thing that
Christians say.
Take care. God bless.